What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for PlayPicks.com, and it is here, guys. We are finally going to break down Super Bowl 53, Super Bowl 2019, Super Bowl, however you want to, Rams versus Patriots, however you want to call this game. We are finally here to break this thing down and stick around to the very end where we kind of give you where we are leaning, some of the picks that we think that we're going to play on this game. While you're here, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button and let us know in the comments how you are going to be playing this game. For sure, we will read them all, and hopefully they'll all be winners. Hopefully where everybody wins. We want everyone to win here on this channel. Of course, that's Matt Peralt. That is Brett Colson. Joining me here to break this down, guys, and listen, I mean, let's just some very cursory thoughts here on the very top of this video. I think this is a pretty evenly matched game, and I think we've seen this in the way that this spread has played out. I mean, yeah, it moved very quickly early, but it stuck around pretty much this entire time. And, you know, this being under a field goal, Peralt, I mean, you're a Patriot guy. I think it's a fair line. I think this is a very fair line. While I think it's probably more in the point and a half type thing. Listen, it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's expecting a blowout by any means. Patriots have played 8 Super Bowls with Brady and Belichick, and all 8 have been decided by 8 points or less. So this feels like the same narrative for the Patriots year after year. It's going to come down to maybe who has the last ball, the ball last, or maybe whoever is not turning the football over. Both quarterbacks have the potential for game-winning drives. Both teams have the potential, when they have the football in crunch time. Greg Zuerlein's leg clearly comes into play here for game-winning kicks, and Stephen Gostkowski is a guy who has not had his Adam Vinatieri moment, and a lot of people are predicting that this is the year for Gostkowski to finally kick a game winner for the Patriots.
So, Brett, people are looking on their screen right now at the Lions homepage. I'm clicking over right now to Play Picks, an article that you have put up, legal Super Bowl betting options and bet types in 2019. You want to give just a little quick synopsis of what everyone can find at the Lions and what they can find at Play Picks, not only just today, between today and Sunday, but just what you've kind of had go up over the course of the week.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for really anything, Super Bowl betting, you're going to find at the Lions. We just posted a props extravaganza article, which includes the video that we ran at Play Picks yesterday. You'll find that at the Lions.
Good plug. There
it is.
Yeah.
But also, how much money is bet on the Super Bowl every year and what we expect this year. That article you can find on thelines.com. You mentioned the article at Play Picks about where you can legally bet. Great breakdown there of where you can bet legally, both online and in retail sports books, and where you might be able to do it in 2020 as well, which a lot of people will be looking at and researching as the Super Bowl gets underway this Sunday. So basically anything you want to know about the Super Bowl and betting, you'll find at the Lines. And if you're looking for picks, you'll find them at Play Picks.
Over here, guys, of course, Nevada, New Jersey, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, West Virginia, Mississippi, and New Mexico are up and going right now, as you see right here on your screen. All right. Flipping over here to DraftKings, let's take a look at the lines here. We'll go with each one of the sports books here over there in New Jersey, kind of see how things sit. As we record this, of course, guys, we are looking at a dome game here. No weather concerns whatsoever. I know this was something that was big and we focused on a lot in the playoffs. And, of course, when the Arctic blast was coming through, but that is not the case here in this one. Going to be perfect weather conditions. We got 2.5 right now, 56. At DraftKings. Over here at FanDuel, we got 2.5, 56 as well. Over here on BetStars, looking at BetStars 2.5, 56 with reduced juice, as you see here at BetStars, 105 on both. And you can find that actually over at Caesars as well. 105, 2.5 here. And we're looking at 56.5 if you're looking for the hook over there at Caesars. Brett, I know that we have some pretty awesome deals at basically all of these books going right now. So if anybody is in and or around the New Jersey area or plans to be or wants to bet on this game, and all you got to do is drive across the border and you can get that done over there. What do we have going at DraftKings and FanDuel and even over at Caesars and whatever?
Well, the DraftKings, if you have never made a deposit before, all you have to do is deposit sign up for an account using our
link in the description below, obviously. Yes, in the description below.
Deposit $5 and you will get 10 free bets of $10 each. So $100 free of wagers at DraftKings. And you also, if you deposit up to $500, you'll get a match on your deposit of a free bet there as well. So if you deposit $500, you get a free bet of $500 essentially with your first bet. So very cool deal at DraftKings. And FanDuel's got a pretty unique one if you make a deposit there, they will give you 53-1 money line odds on either the Rams or the Patriots. Whoever you pick to win there, you'll get up to $5. So you can turn your $5 bet into $265 just by picking the winning side. Very cool deal at FanDuel there.
Yeah, pretty good deal there. And of course, we always have a $10 free over at Caesars as well. And you can, of course, head over to playpicks.com/bonus or head over to the lines. And of course, we have all of that over there. All right, guys, let's break this thing down here. The Rams in 2019, they were 9-7-2 against the spread. The Patriots were 11-7 against the spread. We have seen a massive amount of money come in on the Patriots, and it has continued to stick that way. We did see a very big bet over at William Hill come in today on the Rams, which was $1.5 million. We are guessing that the $2 million bet at MGM was on the Rams as well, because the line did not move at all. And if they were already so heavily on the Patriots, if that $2 million had been on the Patriots, likely would have moved that line. So we think that that was on the Rams as well. We talked about this earlier in the week, that we figured some of this Rams money was going to come in late. Looks like that's the case. People making the drive up from LA, maybe some of the New York people coming down into New Jersey. We'll see some of that in the weekend as well. But yeah, this line sticking pretty tightly at 2.5 here across the board. Let's just start on the top end here and talk about the Patriots offense. 6th in pace, 5th in points per game, average 27.3 points per game. 4th in total yards, they averaged 393.4 yards per game. That was 5th in the NFL. On the Rams side of the ball, they were 3rd in pace, so two fast-paced teams here. 2nd in points per game, 32.9 points per game here. 1st in total yards, guys, they averaged 421.1 yards per game, most in the league. So as we look at that here, Pearl, let's start with just on the Patriots side here. This is an offense that a lot of people, I think, earlier in the season were trying to kind of write off here. Then you see what they were doing with Belichick just comes in, and what we've seen all season long with this team is they kind of take what the defense gives them. We've seen, of course, no longer Josh Gordon in the mix here, so that is certainly something that will, I think that could play a factor, because they don't have that kind of take the top off guy here, but they have been able to continually move this offense down the field, just doing it in kind of chunks and methodically.
It's the one interesting change from this team early in the year to late in the year, and they've kind of gone through a couple different metamorphoses. But the Josh Gordon addition was pretty big, because all of a sudden safeties had to respect the deep ball, and now that's gone, and now you've got Philip Dorsett and Chris Hogan trying to fill that role. And some people are projecting that Philip Dorsett maybe, we did the prop video yesterday, and some are saying Dorsett may be someone to watch from a prop perspective, but I don't know. I mean, they haven't really shown much separation ability over the course of the year. I'm not sure why against this defense they're going to be able to get open, but Brady has been able to have time, and he gets rid of the football in less than 2 seconds. So when you're having a quarterback be literally untouched and the offensive line can block enough to get the running backs open into space, I mean, this is a different type of Patriots offense. We haven't seen this really from Belichick since the early part of the 2000s, but I mean, they're clearly comfortable doing it, and they're clearly able to move the football on pretty much anybody right now.
So, Brett, one of the things about this Rams offense that people have kind of been nitpicking, obviously, to death here is just what was going on with the whole C.J. Anderson, Todd Gurley thing here. Of course, this offense was really, really good at the beginning of the season when they had Cooper Kupp. We did see it slow down a little bit as it progressed after he got hurt, a guy that they used a ton in the red zone there, kind of a security blanket there for Jared Goff. But this Rams offense entering this game, you would only assume with the 2 weeks that Todd Gurley is healthy, you would only assume that that's just even more time for them to figure out how to get Reynolds involved in the offense here. So you think that maybe we're going to see a Rams offense here that at least somewhat resembles what we saw at the beginning of the season?
We don't know. We don't know. We don't know what Todd Gurley's situation is. That's the problem. What we do know is that they have a pretty capable backup in C.J. Anderson. They got really lucky with that addition late in the season, because he has been more than serviceable. All this talk about running backs don't matter. Well, I mean, when it's Todd Gurley, it does matter. So, I mean, there's going to be a drop off no matter who it is. But Anderson has been great. So I think they'll be okay with Anderson. If Gurley's healthy, though, that is such a huge thing, because defenses will change how they approach this game if Gurley is at full strength. So, I don't really know. That's really the big question mark about this game right now.
And so if you were looking at this game and you want to kind of start to figure out how this might play out, we do have two pretty run-heavy teams here. I know it doesn't seem like that. It seems like kind of these, high-flying offenses, but that's not the case here. We do have a team in the Rams, 4th in rush attempts in the entire league, ran at the 8th highest percentage of play calls in the entire league, 3rd in total rush yards, 4th in rush yards per attempt. And so this Rams team certainly wants to run the ball, and you don't really think about it with the Patriots, and I think maybe that your brain gets tricked a little bit because they have that kind of 3-headed monster there, so you don't really realize it there. But again, this team, 3rd in rush attempts, ran the 7th most of any team with, as far as percentage of plays that they ran. 5th in total rush yards for this Patriots team as well. So, Peralt, we look at this, and I think that as we kind of start to stitch together how this game might play out, it does look like we have two teams that want to run the ball.
Yeah, and that's why for me, and I think Brett's completely right about Todd Gurley, I'm probably not going to fire on a total here until I watch the first drive, maybe even first couple of plays. I got to see Todd Gurley, man. If Todd Gurley is healthy, and it could turn into a shootout. I mean, the under is in play if Todd Gurley is not healthy. And if he's not able to go and the Patriots defense can key in on CJ Anderson, that's where I think, the Gurley injury is massive. And I think it does dictate to me how the entire game might go. It's crazy to say that one guy could impact that much, but I think it changes so much for both teams if Todd Gurley is not healthy. So it's really tough going into this game, not knowing exactly what this guy is going to look like. And yeah, the Rams want to run the football, but what if they can't? I mean, What if it's, running into a brick wall and the Patriots take that away and Gurley can't get free in the passing game because he's not healthy? Well, then they got to throw the ball a ton. Mm-hmm. So then that changes a whole lot. And then Jared Goff interceptions and all sorts of other things come into play if Todd Gurley's not healthy.
Yeah, and Brett, one of the things here is this Rams offense is an offense that ran 11 personnel not only more than any team in the league, but by far more than any team in the league. If you're not familiar with 11 personnel, that's 3 wideouts, a tight end, and a running back. And I think what I'm guessing here, what McVay might have to institute is one of the things about 11 personnel is it really does kind of hamper a little bit of the play calls that you can call with not having that like a fullback in there or a second tight end or whatever it might be to mix it up just a little bit. You kind of know where this is going to go a little bit here. I think it gives the Patriots an advantage in this situation. Do you think that, listen, McVay is a guy that we've talked about how could be the next greatest coach in the league or whatever. Do you think this is a guy that sat down and looked at this and said, let's go ahead and give this team who's likely spent 2 weeks doing nothing but digesting every single film that we've ever produced out there and understand that we run this 11 personnel more than anybody else? Do you expect we see a bunch of wrinkles for this Rams offense?
Yeah, I absolutely think we do. I think McVay is going to try to make a point in this game that he can outsmart anybody. And I feel like early on that has hampered him a bit, just trying to be a little too creative. Mm-hmm. But if you're asking me if I think that they're gonna throw some different looks at the Patriots in this game, absolutely. I think we're going to see a lot of that on both sides in this game.
Looking here at this Patriots team, they converted 40.8% of third downs this year. That was 13th in the league. The Rams converted 45% of third downs. That was 5th in the league. This Rams offensive line, a lot to do with that. First rated run blocking unit according to Pro Football Focus. 8th rated pass blocking unit according to Pro Football Focus. Matt, let's shift a little bit to the defensive talk here with this. On the defensive side of the ball for the Patriots, I think a real big key to this is going to be getting all up in Jared Goff's face if you possibly can here. Under a clean pocket, passer rating of 117.1. Under pressure, quarterback rating of 59.2. He completed just 68 of 157 pressured attempts. That was 32nd out of 38 qualified quarterbacks in the league. So if we're going to try to start stitching again this together as how this game could possibly play out, I think a real big key to this is the Patriots defense being able to disrupt and get all up in Jared Goff's face.
Great point. And also you got to look at the fact that you got a couple of guys on that Patriots defensive line who are going to be free agents, Trey Flowers being one of them. So, I mean, a big Super Bowl would be big for him, but the Patriots just, looking at their sack percentage this year, they're among the worst in the NFL at getting after the quarterback. And that was a major concern, on the road for the Patriots this year is they just didn't get after the quarterback. So I mean, this offensive line for the Rams, you mentioned the 11 personnel, and 538.com did a really interesting story on what that 11 personnel has looked like for the Rams and how good McVay has been, not just with his running backs, but getting holes open for whoever would be running the football. So it may not matter if it's Gurley or Anderson running behind that offensive line, but I mean, the Patriots are going to have to blitz, and when they blitz, that opens up problems, and they're just not really a team that's geared towards that. They don't have an edge rusher. They don't have someone that can come off the edge, consistently and get pressure. So if they're forced to blitz the linebackers, that's definitely something to watch from a Rams perspective of being able to hit a home run.
So, Brett, taking a look here, I mean, this Rams team, 19th overall DVOA, actually got ranked third by Pro Football Focus, who we know goes in and actually watches every single play and kind of grades with the eye test as opposed to the DVOA, which is a numbers-based thing. Gave up 24 points per game. That was actually 20th in the league. And then you kind of start to get this middling defense feel whenever you go through these statistics. 15th in yards per game allowed, 16th rated against the run, 14th rush yards allowed per game, 27th rush yards per attempt allowed, second ranked pass rush, which is the big strength of this Rams defense, and the pass coverage unit, which we've seen really step up here in the playoffs. 16th in pass yards per game allowed and 20th in pass yards per attempt allowed. Do you feel like this Rams defense is going to have to play at a level way above where they were the course of this season in order to kind of slow this Patriots offense down? Or do you think that they've got the tools in place, as long as they can just put together a solid kind of middle of the pack game like they did with these season-long statistics, that's going to be good enough?
I think the one facet they absolutely need to be better is getting pressure on the quarterback. That is the key to the game for the Rams. Even if you're not knocking Brady down, just getting pressure on him early and quickly is a way to stop this offense. If you look back at the 3 Patriots losses in Super Bowls, Brady was pressured 40% of the time or more on dropbacks. In 4 of his 5 Super Bowl wins, that number was around 32% or less. So, I mean, those numbers are magnified even more now because he can't make the throws that he's made in past Super Bowls. I mean, his arm strength just isn't there anymore. So getting him out of his comfort zone is imperative to success for the Rams in this game. And they need to do that by getting pressure on him. And I mean, the Rams pass rush is so unique because most of it comes from the inside. They really need Fowler to get in on Brady and quickly in this game.
Looking here,
the 505 yards in the Super Bowl, and you can't make the same throws.
I mean, come on, man. Come on.
505 yards in the Super Bowl. 505 yards.
Eye test here. Defense for the Patriots. Patriots, 16th overall DVOA, 7th is ranked by Pro Football Focus. So again, Pro Football Focus likes these defenses a little bit better with the eye test than the numbers do here. They give up 20.3 points per game. That was actually 7th in the NFL, 17th in yards per game allowed. Both of these offenses, though, when we go to this yards per game allowed, I think we should put the asterisk here, kind of the caveat that both of these teams play from ahead most of the season. And when you play from ahead, garbage time, garbage yards, things like that. So you're going to give up kind of a lot more yardage than some of these other people. 8th in rush yards per game allowed, 26th in rush yards per attempt. However, we do have the 29th ranked pass rush according to Pro Football Focus. So as we just mentioned, a key is disrupting Goff. They're going to have to step it up. They're going to have a better pass rush than they've had all season long here. 22nd in pass yards allowed per game. And again, a lot of teams abandon the run, have to go to the pass whenever they're trailing. So you take that with a grain of salt. 9th in pass yards per attempt allowed here. So this is kind of how these two teams break down by the numbers, by the eye test from Pro Football Focus as well, and just what we've seen kind of moving forward. So guys, one of the things we do on these videos all the time is let's make a case for the over and the under here. As we're looking here, this is DraftKings right here. You can see we're at 56 over here on FanDuel. We're looking at 56 as well. Over on BetStars, 56, and then down at Caesars, you can get the hook 56.5 over there. So, Brett, let's start with you here, and let's make a case for the over in this game. This thing opened up about 59.5 in a bunch of shops, immediately got bet down all the way down to 56. It had popped back up to 56.5 and 57 in some places. Now we see it back down to 56.5 at the books that we just looked at right here. But how does this game go over here?
I think a lot of it is what I just talked about is if Brady has time to make throws, especially underneath to his safety blankets, White and Burkhead and Edelman. I mean, he's going to have I mean, if he has all day to throw, there's no way the Rams can stop him. So, I mean, that really is my case. I really like the under here, so it's hard for me to make a case for the over, but I think that's the way it gets done. If the Rams can't get in Brady's face and get him out of that pocket, then I think this could be a high-scoring game.
Prawl, let's talk about the over here, a case for the over. What are some factors that you can see? Now, whether you're leaning that way or not is irrelevant. There's some people watching this right now that certainly are. So let's try and help them get to that point. What are some of the ways that this thing gets over the total?
I mean, to me, it's Todd Gurley. If Todd Gurley is healthy and the Rams can put points on the board, the Patriots are going to come out of the shell and they're going to go back to playing the offense that they're used to playing. So, I mean, that to me, if Gurley gets rolling and he's healthy, Patriots, I don't believe, have an answer for him. And then it's point by point. And it's touchdown matching touchdown, and we have a game, in the 30s easy. Yeah. In my opinion. So I mean, I don't hate an overplay here. I definitely think I'm leaning towards the under. I agree with Brett because I think both teams are going to have to run the football, and I don't believe Todd Gurley's healthy. So, but if Todd Gurley comes out and he looks great in the first series, I'm firing an in-game wager on the over.
So a couple of other things here. I mean, we mentioned this at the very top, but these are prime playing conditions as well. That certainly helps in the scoring environment. There's going to be no worry about kicking. There's going to be no worry about punting. There's going to be no worry about wind catching a downfield pass, anything like that. So of course, that is certainly something that we can take into account. One of the other things we can take into account if we're looking to bet the over here is historical data has that we are looking at during the regular season about 14 penalties per game. And when we are in the playoffs, a little over 11 penalties per game. We have seen the referees swallow their whistle. This is not this is not jumping back to the Saints loss or anything like that. But
Saints fan.
But 14 to 11. We're talking like 3 fewer penalties per game here, and that means maybe not a pass interference call or not a roughing the passer call or whatever it might be. Some of these major penalties that 1 automatic first down, 2 move you downfield 15 plus yards or something like that. So I think another way that this game could get over is just the fact that we've seen historically refs tend to swallow their whistles whenever it gets to this time in the season. So certainly another way that this thing could get over here. But Pat, I agree. Gurley being a key here, and also think just if either pass rush is not effective and these quarterbacks have all day to throw, this thing could just become a track meet in there. And I believe that could certainly be a case. Now, Prawl, let's start with you on the under case here. Y'all both kind of went ahead and tipped your hand, even though we said we weren't going to do that you were both leaning towards the under in this game. So let's make some cases for the under here.
Okay, so for the under, for me, I haven't missed a minute bet you one way or the other, but I think in terms of the way this game wants to go from a Patriot perspective is take the ball away from the Rams and not go up and down the field. And the Patriots are going to try to have a couple of drives, maybe 6-7 minutes in length. And they'd be perfectly content, I think, winning this game 24-20 and getting the heck out of Atlanta with another championship. So I think the Rams also want to run the football. So if they can both grind it out, I think it's just about possessions and number of scoring opportunities and not so much about the defenses, but just about the way the game's going to roll from a time perspective that, if you limit possessions, the logical thought is the under's in play.
So, Brett, again, we know that the public typically likes to bet the over. I mean, we saw this thing, again, open at 59.5 in places, and now it's bet all the way down to 56. Now, this has not been typically how we see things go so far, the way this betting has gone. We, in years past, would have thought that this number is going to creep back up towards 58, 59 maybe, because every casual bettor on the face of the planet is always going to bet the over. Let's go into this thinking that maybe that's not the case. We'll use 56.5 that we see over here on Caesars as the case for this. So let's make a case for the under at 56.5. Of course, we're talking about two teams here, as we mentioned. Third in rush attempts in the league for the Patriots, and over here for the Rams, we were talking about a team that was third in total rush attempts here. So both of these teams really fourth in total rush attempts for the Rams. So both teams have proven that they really, really want to run the football.
Am I allowed to make a pick now?
Yes. Yeah, you can. Right. Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I still like the under, even at 56. I mean, can you wait to see if it climbs? Sure, but I'm with you. I don't think it's going to climb that much higher. So Look, this is a game I think both teams are going to have success running the football. Neither of these defenses are anything close to exceptional at stopping the run. So I see the clock moving pretty quickly in this game. But I agree with Matt. I think the Patriots are going to have quite a few long drives, whether they score a touchdown or kick a field goal. They are so good at just draining 7-8 minutes off the clock with a long drive. I can see that happening in this game at least once. So.
One of the things, if you watched our prop video yesterday that you mentioned, like you liked the under on, like a Brandon Cooks as far as receiving yards go. And with that, I think that also plays into the fact that maybe an under in a game, because he's like their splash play guy, right? Like he's the guy that gets on the board very, very quickly. The Patriots really don't have kind of a splash play guy. I mean, yeah, they'll huck it down the field to Hogan every now and then, but really and truly, they kind of more methodically chip down the field. So I think that even some of the stuff we talked about, even from the props yesterday in that video, which that link's in the description as well, if you guys want to click on that, kind of plays into your thought here as well, right? So if you think that their splash play guy is not going to have a big game, well, if they're not scoring quickly, that certainly favors the under as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything we talked about in the prop show correlates to what we're talking about today. This is how I think the game's going to play out. I think the Patriots are really going to try to take Brandon Cooks out of the game. And if you take him out of the game, then they're going to find ways the Rams are going to find ways to move the ball on the ground. And that's how I see it playing out. So, that's why I like the under here. And we'll get into the other pick later.
Rams 7th in time of possession on the season. The Patriots 2nd in time of possession on the season. Both teams, ball hogs, want to keep the ball, want to be in possession of the ball here. Again, that favors the under. The other thing that I think could favor the under is if Todd Gurley is not healthy and they do have to rely on CJ Anderson. CJ Anderson is 3 yards in a cloud of dust guy. He is not breaking 40 and 50 yard runs or anything like that, like we saw several different times this season with Todd Gurley. That is just not going to happen. So if they do have to rely on CJ Anderson more than they want to, then that certainly favors the under here, because he's the guy that's going to get you 3 or 4. Tick, 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 tick. And that just keeps the clock running. Of course, if your clock's running tick, tick, tick like that, it's not scoring, keeps the game at the under as well. All right, here we are at the time here, guys, for our official picks in this game as we sit right now. Matt Peralt, let's start with you. The line, 2.5 prevailing at all the books across the board here. So we're going to go with 2.5 as this video sits right now.
I've already bet it, Patriots -1, but Patriots by 4. I have Patriots 28-24 winning their 6th Super Bowl with Tom Brady. I just think this is a Rams team without Todd Gurley being healthy. I'm not buying the talk. I think Gurley's got something really wrong with him, and I think they're going to have a tough time moving the ball the way that they want to. And I'm not a believer in Jared Goff and a 3rd-year quarterback taking on a Bill Belichick coached team. Tom Brady is 16-1 against teams in the postseason. He's playing for the first time. The one loss was last year against the Eagles. I don't see it happening in back-to-back years.
Brett, let's see. I think you are on the other side of this one.
I am on the other side, and it's mostly a market play for me. I'm always looking for deficiencies in the market, especially with the week-to-week recency bias in football. And the steam on the Patriots after that AFC Championship game, it was expected, but it's too much for me. I from a straight handicapping standpoint, I capped this at Rams -1.5. So I thought the initial line that was posted after the game was closer to what it should have been. So I see a lot of value here on the Rams in a game that I expect to be close for most of the way. But I'm taking talent over the experience and the intangibles here. I just think the Rams are far more skilled enough that they should be favored.
So I went just full transparency as we do on these videos all the time. I got as soon as the lines opened up, I was able to get the Patriots at +1.5. So nice. I do have the Patriots. I do have the Patriots +1.5 already. I did know the line was going to move. I did not know the line was going to move this much and that rapidly, but right. I did know the line was going to move. And so I thought jumping on them at 1.5 was kind of a good play there. I am sitting in the spot where I don't know how I want to go about this, because should this number get to 3, I have a 4.5 point middle opportunity here. And so I have to kind of weigh the options here if I'm going to try and go that route, because I do believe that this will continue to touch 3. I think it will continue to bob back and forth between 3 and 2.5 as we lead up to kickoff here. So that's kind of my dilemma here. The other play that I'm really considering here is if the Rams money line ends up getting hammered like we've seen in Super Bowls in the past, because it is one of those situations where in years past, the Rams money line, the underdog money line just gets all of the tickets from the casual bettors. And again, those guys are rolling into town today. They're rolling into town Saturday. And so those are the guys that are going to go up, and yeah, it's going to be $50, $100, $200 bets, but there's going to be a lot of $50, $100, $200 bets. I mean, that's just going to be the way that it goes here. So if this money line on the Pats gets down to where I feel comfortable, kind of in that 125-ish range, I would definitely go on the Patriots money line here. It's something I've done in past Super Bowls with success, so I think I would try that as well. I think the strongest play for me, guys, is I'm going to hold out. I'm going to pray that history does repeat itself and this total climbs back up, and I'm going to take the under in this game. I feel the most strongly about the under in this game. It's two teams that want to run the ball, and even when the Patriots do pass the ball, we've seen passes out of the backfield to James White. We've seen take what they give you to Welker. To Edelman. We've seen Gronk doesn't have it anymore as far as like getting downfield. But you can hit him on a 6-yard slant. You can hit him on the middle of the field. He kind of goes in and just boxes out. Chip down the field. I think Todd Gurley probably isn't 100% either. I think they will have to rely on C.J. Anderson a little bit more, and I don't think that adheres to scoring in this game either. So my strongest play going to be the under. I am going to hold out until the very last minute. I can't see it getting below 56. So, I mean, at worst case, I have to take it under 56. I think that maybe we get another point. Maybe we get a point and a half if we're lucky. So that's kind of the strongest play for me.
My strongest play is I'm going to wait for 3, and I'm going to tease it to 9, and then I'm going to wait for that under the total to pop up to about 57.
And then get that thing over 60. Yeah.
And 63 and go under.
Yeah.
So that my largest handle, like what I'm putting down the most money on, that's my favorite play for me is to give the Rams 9 points. The Patriots in every one of their games has been 8 points or less. So get the Rams to 9 and win or lose for the Patriots. I feel good.
Yeah, I think another one of the things that we've talked about here is if we're all on the under, I think the first half under as well is another play that I'm going to be looking at very strongly. And I don't even know if this thing has to creep up for me to play that. You talked about kind of how the Patriots have struggled to score points early on in games. I honestly think we are talking about Jared Goff here as well, playing in a Super Bowl, pretty young dude still. I could see there being some jitters. I could see the offense being pretty conservative in this game to start things off and kind of try to get him in a flow a little bit before they really start hammering on the gas here in this game. So, Brett, I don't know where you stand on kind of the first half under as well, but I certainly think that is something I'm going to be looking at too.
Yeah, I mean, even Brady has shown jitters in the first half of the Super Bowl before. I mean, I'll just look at the Rams game. I mean, the guy couldn't do anything in the first half of that game. So, yeah, I definitely the under. If you like the under, I think you have to like the under in the first half.
And first quarter, too. Look at the first quarter total as well from a prop perspective. I mean, I think it's 9.5. So the under there is not horrible either.
Guys, we really appreciate you tuning in to this video and all the videos we've done leading up to the Super Bowl. We will be back on Sunday morning, and we're going to go live. Just last-minute thoughts here. Any of the line movements, any of the big bets we've heard about, any of the things like that, we will go through all of that with you guys, and hopefully, that could even sway you even further in the direction that you wanted to go with that. Please hit that subscribe button down below. You guys got us to nearly 1,200 subscribers on this thing. We're looking to get to 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, however it might be. So you guys helping us do that, really appreciate that. And again, in the comments below, let us know how you're playing the game. We certainly want to hear your thoughts. We've had 3 different opinions on this thing, so yours is certainly welcome here. For Matt Peralt, for Brett Colson, I'm Matt Brown. See you guys Sunday morning.